Hello, class, and welcome to my informative speech. For this speech, I will be debating whether LeBron James or Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I will talk about three main points in this speech. In this speech, I will talk about A. Statistics, B. Pop culture, and 3. Accomplishments. My three main sources for this speech will be basketballreference.com, FS1's two shows, which are Undisputed and First Things First, and First Take from ESPN, where all these analysts debate and talk about different numbers and factual information to make their cases for who the GOAT is. And I'll be taking a little bits of each and analyzing it and putting my own twist onto it. So first, I want to talk about the two main players, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. So Michael Jordan, he was known as Michael Jeffrey Jordan, came into the league in 1984. He was he was a pretty good basketball player, to say the least. Everyone thinks of him as the GOAT. I mean, he was the first guy who had his own brand in terms of really selling it internationally. He came up with the Jordan brand, which everyone knows today as Jordan. He came into the league in 1984, like I stated before. He was the third overall draft pick behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. He averaged for his career, as you see on basketballreference.com, 30.1 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 49.7% field goal percentage, which means he shot just under 50%, or meaning he made 1 out of 2 shots that he took, 32% from three-point range, 83% free throw percentage, and then his PER, which combines all these stats and puts it into like an efficiency calculator, which is 27.9, which ranks him as number 1 all time for PER. Now, Michael Jordan played from 1984 to 1993, and then he retired. He then went on to come back from retirement in 1995, and then he played until 1998, retired again, came back in 2001, and played until 2003. So he really played around 15 seasons or so, but of those 15 seasons, around 12 were when he was in his prime, and the other 3 were basically just seasons he was playing for charity. And so our next player is LeBron James. Now, he is known as the chosen one by many. He was drafted in 2003. His career averages are 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 50% from field goal percentage, so he has better rebounding, better assists than Michael Jordan, and better field goal percentage slightly. He is also around 3 inches taller than Michael Jordan, so that makes sense why he gets more rebounds and he shoots a higher percentage. But the fact that he gets more assists really is just a great way to show how good of a passer he is and how much skill he has. He's a better shooter from 3, as you can see. He shot 34.4% from 3-point, but he's not a better free throw percentage, as he only shoots 73%, whereas Michael Jordan, as you can see, shot 83.5%. And so, if you look at his PER, it's 27.5. So LeBron's PER is very close to Michael's. It's actually second all time, which is very interesting because these two are known as the two GOATs by many. And so in the GOAT debate, when you talk about numbers, it's really close, as you can see. So when we talk about overall stats, some things I also want to bring up that you can't really tell from basketballreference.com. Michael Jordan led the league in scoring 9 times, whereas LeBron only led it once. As you can see, it says 2007-2008 scoring champ, whereas Michael Jordan, if you look at him, it says 10 times rather. But he led it for 9 straight years, is what I meant. And he is a 3-time steal champ, 14-time All-Star, and he also was a Defensive Player of the Year. So if you look at it, he would play defense. He would play on both ends of the court. So it's really hard to make an argument against Jordan. Now, if you look at LeBron, you would see that he also is a 16-time All-Star, but he only led the league in scoring once, and he's only had 6 All-Defensive first teams. And so when you talk about stats, you're talking about numbers on what you did, not just offensively but defensively, and those defensive numbers get recognized as accomplishments for accomplishments, like you get awards for them. And so LeBron really has a lot of deficiencies compared to Michael Jordan when you're talking about the defensive end of the floor. Despite being bigger than Michael, he lacks a lot. So now I want to go on to pop culture. And when we're talking pop culture, who's the GOAT? Well, by most people on social media and in culture today, everybody's going to say LeBron James. And the reason for this is because we live in a digital age where there's a lot of Twitter, there's a lot of just things where people always tweet at athletes, and there's a lot of scrutiny. So for LeBron to deal with the scrutiny and still have this high character and this high standard really is, a testament to how great of a basketball player he is, because he does it on both on the court and off the court, whereas Michael was more on the court. In fact, Michael Jordan once said, Republicans buy sneakers too, when it came to a question asking him why he doesn't stand out in terms of social issues and social justice and all that. Michael Jordan was a businessman first before he was an advocate for equality and civil issues, whereas LeBron doesn't really care if it hurts his brand, and in fact it helps promote his brand because he always talks about these social issues, and he's always on Twitter. He recently actually tweeted at Drew Brees and making fun of him for not standing with the American flag and just saying how, see, this is the problem. So LeBron has no cautious feeling about it, or he has no self back push. He's not going to back down from anything, is what I'm trying to say here. And then Michael Jordan was like that too, but he wouldn't take a stand on social issues. So when you're talking social issues, you have to give the nod to LeBron. So if you look at stats, you have to say LeBron has more well-rounded stats, but Michael Jordan did it offensively and defensively, both on both ends of the court. If you look at social issues, it's LeBron all day. But then the third category I want to talk about is basketball accomplishments. So now when we're talking basketball accomplishments, what I mean is, what did you achieve? And I went into this earlier into my stats, as you see, the defensive all teams and the scoring champions. But also, if you look at this, you can see that LeBron was MVP 4 times. Well, that's great. And that's a very impressive feat because he did 4 MVPs in really 5 years, or 4 MVPs in 5 years. He did it from 2009, 2010. He didn't win it in 2011, but then he won it in 2012 and 2013. So 4 MVPs in that stretch is more than anyone ever, but he's still only 4 MVPs. Michael, in terms of longevity, had more MVPs. Michael, as you can see here, had 5 MVPs, and if you look at it, he had a Defensive Player of the Year, which I touched on earlier. So he did it on both ends. When we're talking about other accomplishments, then comes the main point, which is who plays the game of basketball and who's really accomplished the most between these two great athletes. And you have to really be careful when you talk about these things, because a lot of people have different criteria and people get offended really easily. For example, a lot of people will say that LeBron James is not the GOAT because he's 3-6 in the finals. Well, he's been to the finals 9 times and 8 straight times from 2011 to 2018, but he's lost 6 finals. Whereas Michael Jordan, if you look at it, and this is the argument that I feel makes Michael Jordan the GOAT, and I think it also makes him the GOAT in the eyes of many others, and that's he's won 6 championships. And so to win 6 titles and be undefeated in all 6 of those, and to win finals MVP, meaning that he was the best player on the court for every single one of those series, means that he never really had a flaw when it came to the highest moments. Whereas when you compare LeBron, he has had some flaws. But the argument for LeBron, I understand that many make, such as the ESPN writer or the for FS1 writer, analyst Nick Wright, and I'm going to show his clip really quickly here from his show.
Past Jordan as the GOAT.
All right, so if we're talking about accomplishments, he needs at least a couple more rings, probably one more MVP. But if we're talking about accomplishments, Jordan's not the GOAT. It's Kareem. And if it's not Kareem, it's probably Russell. So we're not really talking about accomplishments. We're talking about who's the best. Who's the best? One game to decide your life. Who do you want in all-time history? So for LeBron to pass Jordan, he needs a time machine to go back about 11 months when he passed him the first time. LeBron's been the best player ever since about midway point of Game 6 of last year's finals, and all he's done since then is continue it. He's on the greatest streak in postseason history since Dre called him the B word and Clay said his feelings were hurt. He's played 16 games, his team's 15-1, giving you 34, 9, 8, and 55% shooting. And when we're just comparing the two players, LeBron averages more rebounds, assists, blocks, steals than Jordan. Shoots a better percentage from 2, shoots a better percentage from 3, is the more versatile defender, can guard all 5 positions. He can do everything Jordan could do, but better.
So, you see, that is the argument that many LeBron fans make for LeBron James, and it's a really good argument because when a guy gets you more rebounds, more assists, he can defend multiple positions, he can shoot higher efficiency shots, meaning that he's making more of the shots that he takes than Jordan did, then you have to give him that edge. But you have to also look at this when you compare these. Look at the rules. The rules in the 80s and 1990s compared to now are much different. Now you can get away with a lot more. You can shoot. It's easier to shoot higher percentages. So that's why LeBron, yeah, he's shooting. He has been amazing, but you have to look at the eras, and this is what I feel like isn't talked about in this argument, but it is talked about in this argument when we're talking about the GOAT.
Rockets GM Daryl Morey says LeBron is the GOAT by a big margin. Stephen A., let me ask you this. Can the Kings still do anything to pass MJ as the GOAT?
No, not to me. It's a very, very simple answer to me. When you lose 6 NBA Finals, there's nothing to talk about. I'm not questioning the greatness of LeBron James in terms of, his overall skill set and his overall impact to winning and losing basketball games. That's undeniable. I think that it's a debate as to whether he's number 2 or number 1 on Mount Rushmore basketball, to be quite honest with you, because I think he's that great. We can't deny that. But there are too many moments along the road where he came up a bit small. That's not to say that Jordan was perfect, that there weren't times when he struggled. But when the moments mattered most and he was called upon to deliver, he rarely, if ever, let us down. Jordan went 7 consecutive years averaging 30-plus. For 13 years in Chicago, he shot 50.5% from the field, which is a better overall field goal shooting percentage than LeBron James, by the way. He was a 9-time first-team all-defensive player. He didn't take time off defensively. He embraced the toughest defensive assignment night in, night out during many occasions throughout his career. And for me personally, even though I can understand how people can look at LeBron 6'9", 260, a locomotive coming at you, a physical specimen, the likes of which we haven't seen this side of Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal, basically. At the end of the day, Jordan didn't have that at his disposal, still did what he did, still rose to the occasion in big moments, was unblemished and undefeated in NBA Finals, never even allowed the Finals to get to a 7th game, was the ultimate assassin And I look at those things and I say, whatever LeBron James does, without questioning his greatness in any way, when you bring up Jordan comparisons, there are too many down moments that he had that we would never associate with Michael Jordan. It's not even a debate to me.
And that is my main point. It isn't even really a debate. I think LeBron is great, and he's done his things for basketball and the game of basketball and sports, and he's done so much. But he isn't the player, he isn't the athlete, he isn't Michael Jordan. He can be everything else, but he just can't be Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was unblemished, he had no flaws whatsoever. And LeBron's great, and he has very few flaws, but he still has flaws. He just lost the 2011 finals to Dallas. He's come up small in big games before. And so I have to give Michael Jordan the edge just because he came up big in the biggest moments. And that's what really matters, is what do you do in high leverage moments. And so for this debate, I think it's really important to understand that these guys are both great athletes, and we should agree that they're great athletes. But if I have to pick one, I'm going Michael Jordan all day, every day, as the GOAT over LeBron James. Thank you, and thank you for coming to my speech.
The answer is yes. There are